She said he needs it to look for work. So I think that was the final straw for him, you know. And when I was 16, he said to me, "Come here, son, sit down. I want to show you why you should always wear a condom during sexy time." And he produced a book of pictures. It wasn't until we got to page 5 that I realised all those pictures were of me. Exactly. And that guy spent his entire life searching for loopholes in my birth certificate. I said to my mother, "He doesn't like me very much, does he?" She said, "Well, put it this way, son. Had he had his way at the time of conception, he would have pulled out and you'd have been shot into space." What? You can't say that to me. And then school. They would never ever tell my parents that they were my parents. They would never tell the school that they were my parents. They would always say they were my social workers. Always. If there was meetings, they were my social workers. If they dropped me off at school, they were my social workers. Crazy. But my mum, she liked to send me to school with my name sewn into my pants. 2 problems. 1, she couldn't write, and 2, she couldn't sew. Therefore, she would cut names out of cardboard boxes and glue them onto my pants. No fun when you go home from school with a letter from the teacher saying, "Betty Crocker did very well in home economics today." That's great. Such an embarrassment. And my dad, you know, I remember one time he was sat watching television. There was a knock at the door. He got up again and walked the 2 yards to the front door. Opened it up, there's a big burly police officer standing there. And he showed my father a picture. And he said, "Is this your wife?" "To be sure, that's her," he said. "It looks as though she's been hit by a bus." "That's right, but she's got a lovely personality." Crazy. And I tell you, they were sat watching television one night. It's one of those cookery programmes. And my mother turned to him and she said, "You know what? I can do better than that." He said, "Well, get your ass in the kitchen and make something." So she went in there and she made an upside down cake. When she took it out of the oven, it was the right way up. She said, "I'll make some meringue," because everybody in the house likes meringue. So the recipe called for her to separate 2 eggs. But one in the living room, one in the bathroom. I said, "Never mind, Mother, come on, I'll take you out for pizza." So we went out for pizza and we were sat there and the waiter said, "Madam, would you like me to cut your pizza into 4 or 6 slices?" She said, "Oh, you better cut it into 4, because I could never be eating 6. Crazy woman, crazy woman. And there's another time she's out for a walk and she called me. "Son, I'm out for my walk and I've just found a suitcase. And in the suitcase is 5 puppies." And I said, "Oh, that's terrible. I didn't move in." And it went quiet. And then she came back on and she said, "Well, I can't be sure, but he'll certainly explain the suitcase." What? My mother, unbelievable. Crazy. And then, of course, I don't know what time it is because my watch has stopped. I'll finish with this story, these stories about my brother. When I was 10 and he was 8, I think it was something like that, we were sat outside playing, and we were just playing on the roadside, and it was outside a really big house. And a Jaguar pulled up, and a guy in a really nice Armani suit got out. He walked up to the door and knocked on it. And this really attractive, beautiful, blonde-haired woman, scantily dressed, answered the door. He said, "Mr. Jones sent me." She said, "Oh, come in." 20 minutes later, he came out and he said to her, "That was very good, here's $50. And I looked at my brother and I thought, that's a bit odd. About half an hour later, a Rolls Royce pulled up. A guy in a really nice suit. Went to the front door, knocked on the door. Mr. Jones sent me. Come in. Same thing, 20 minutes later. Comes out and he says to me, that was very good, here's $50. I said to my brother, because I was old enough to kind of appreciate a good-looking woman. And I said to my brother, how much money have you got? So I've got $1. So I've got $1 as well, so that's $2, come on. We went, I knocked on the door. She opened the door, she looked down at me. And I said, Mr. Jones sent us? She said, really? Have you got any money? I said, yeah, I've got $2. She took my $2. We went inside. She kicked us and smacked us all the way up the hallway. She kicked us and smacked us all the way down, opened the front door, and kicked us out onto the road. My brother turned to me and said, thank God we only had $2. I couldn't stand 20 minutes of that. But you know, he has made millions. He's a millionaire, lives in London, millionaire, and 2 weeks ago I think it was, he went out and bought a top-of-the-range Ferrari. Now, I have no idea how much a Ferrari costs, but he got this car. And his girlfriend is gorgeous. She's a stunning-looking woman, absolutely beautiful, with very, very large, locks. And he said to her, he said, hey, Trace, if I get this car to do 100 miles an hour around these country lanes, will you take off all your clothing? She said, yeah, I could do that. In the blink of an eye, he's doing 100 miles an hour. Now, if anybody's been to England, the roads are very narrow, and they're always wet. But we are used to driving 100 miles an hour on them, aren't we, Kathleen? But he turned to her and she's stripped, totally naked. And he was distracted. And he drove into the ditch. And he flipped to the car and rolled it into a field. Tracy was thrown clear of the wreckage, but he's pinned underneath. But they were relatively okay. And he shouted to her, Trace, go and get help. Guys, you know that look they give you when they're a little bit pissed with you? It's something like... And then she made that noise that they make when they're really pissed with you. Reminds me of a bit like a constipated Elvis. And then she said, well, I would, but as you can see, I'm totally naked. Well, never mind that. One of my shoes has been thrown clear. Pick it up, cover your lower lady bits, and go and get help. She searched for the shoe and she found it. She covered her lower lady bits, and she ran. I can't do the run because I've got... Not the first time I've said this, but I've got a short lead, so I can't, But she ran something like this. Half a mile and 2 black eyes later, she arrives at this gas station and she's met by an elderly attendant. And she says to him then, quick, help, my boyfriend's stuck. He took one look and I can't, he's too far in. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you on that one. And I'll be back in an hour or so to get a little bit raunchy. Thank you.